Everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this card using Simon Hurley stamps, a new release for this January. Let's get started. All right, so I've got here the Simon Hurley stamp set Succulents. It's got some beautiful cactus. It is HUR 80756 if you're looking for the SKU. And it's got both the empty stamps, and then it's got stamps you can stamp them with to color them in. And you can also get the dies sold separately. And then I'll be using this background rubber stamp Moroccan Tile SKU HUR 80664 for my background. And then I'm going to use an older stamp set, Welcome Home. I'm going to be using the rug and the coffee table from that set. It's a great little table, I'm telling you, and it's easy to cut out. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me get all these other things out of my way, and we're going to start with our background. I'm just going to pull out my stamp, and sweating, my glasses are fogging up on me here. Sorry about that. And I'm going to just lay it down on my little work mat here. And I'm going to grab, I want to make this kind of subtle, kind of grungy, kind of me, old looking. So I've got a piece of 4 1/4 by 5.5 cardstock, and I've got Simon Hurley's ink in Breakup Blue. And I'm just going to spread ink all over the stamp here. And then I'll be just laying my paper down right into the ink, just to make life easier. You could take the stamp off of the background and put it in your stamping platform if you want to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay it down and just give it a good push all the way around. I like to hold on to it with one of my hands. I found that if I try to use my stamping glider tool, I tend to move the paper. So just grab a piece of paper towel so I don't get my hands too dirty, and then I'm going to flip that over. And you could use it just like that if you wanted to. But I want to kick it, I don't want to say kick it up a notch, I want to say kick it down a notch. And I'm just wiping off any excess ink, because I don't want that to spread around with my next step. So I'm going to grab the Simon Hurley die ink pad in Cookie Dough, which is my very favorite. And I'm going to grab a blending brush, and I'm just going to ink blend the cookie dough right over the top here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for old wallpaper or old tiles, or, you know, whatever, old. I'm looking for old. So I'll just fill that all in with the cookie dough. And I'm happy with that. See, I've got some spots lighter than others, and I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4 before I edge it in. So I'm going to grab the Weeping Willow, and I'm just going to go along the edges here, grunging it up. Coming in on the corners just a little bit. Just that easy, we have a beautiful background. If you're into that sort of thing, like I said, there's a million ways you could stamp this Moroccan tile, but this is how I'm doing it. So now I'm going to get out my succulents, and I'm going to be cutting these out. And I'm going to use 3 of them. So I'm going to choose the little prickly pear one. I'm going to choose the little aloe vera looking one. And I'm going to choose the one that looks like a, we used to call it a mother-in-law's tongue. Couldn't imagine why. See, here are the stamps that you can fill them in with, which is really, really handy if you don't like to color. Okay, so let me go ahead and get these going here. And I had stamped off center one of them, so I started over and just cut that whole part out. Just want to fit them all on here. There we go. Leaving room to use the die if I want to. And I'm going to show you what I like to do with the dies, because I'm not a big fan of the white border. In some cases, I like it, but in this case, I don't want the white border. So I'm just going to make sure those are good and black. I'll do a second stamping for good measure. Just give them all a good press, and yep, I'm happy with that. Nice and black. Just wipe down my stamps here. And then I'm just going to pull this out. And I've got it on a piece of scrapbook.com sticky pad. So sometimes you have to roll that off. It's losing its stick because I've had it a long time. I'm going to go ahead and stamp out also my coffee table and my rug. These are good staple pieces for any time. And I'll go ahead and stamp those down with some black ink as well. Here, I'll use my little chunky tool. I need to change that out and get the Christmas candy out of there since it's after Christmas. I'm not going to eat it because that kind of candy tends to stick together into one big lump. Alright, just make sure I have it nice and black. I'm happy with that. Take it out of the stamp platform, get that out of my way, and we're going to go ahead and color these now. And I'm going to start with the cactus, and I'm going to make 3 different color cactus, and I'll be painting a lot of these offline because you don't need to sit here and look at me paint, but I'll show you how I do it. So I just lay down some ink and I lay down some water, and then I have a water brush, but it doesn't have water in it. I just like this precision tip brush. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it all in with the kind of watered down fake plant. Kind of like you would do Copic coloring. So you'd lay down a foundation color. And cue some music here, I'm concentrating. Okay, got all my green down. I'm going to wipe this off, but later on I decide I'm just going to kind of use different spaces. So now I'm putting water to the side, getting my brush wet, and going in with a heavier concentration, filling in the shadows. Now, I am not a colorist or a painter. I have basically never worked with Copic coloring because I just don't want to spend the money on the pens. I don't feel like I'm good enough to warrant that kind of expense. So I just paint with ink. It's probably not the same, but it feels the same. It seems the same. So I'm just filling in the darker spots, spots that need to be darker. And I just go back into my ink and grab some more. Now I'm going into the very watery ink and just blending it all together. This fake plant is my favorite green that Simon has. It's just so green. And honestly, I don't think this is actually an aloe vera plant. It could be. If it was, it wouldn't be this dark green. I generally don't see them this dark green, but this is my plant world. So it's going to be what I want it to be. Heck, you could make them purple if you wanted to. Okay, I'm going to color the rest of these off camera. So I colored this one with the fake plant, I colored this one with Later Gator, and I colored this one with Viper. So there are 3 different shades of green. Now I just need to color everything else. So I'm going to do one of the pots here. And I don't want exactly perfect coloring on the pots because they're supposed to look old too. I'm going to go down with some Over the Moon on my brush and water it down pretty good and just start filling in this pot. I'm going to get some more concentrated color and start bringing it in from the edge just to add the shadows, to give the pot a little bit of dimension. And of course make it darker on the inside because there would be shadows up against it. And just kind of spread it all out. I still got a little bit of green on my pen, on my brush, but I'm okay with that. So I'm going to come down again with just a little bit of water, and even darken these edges in a little bit more. Get everything spread out to make sure it's kind of more yellow color than green. Just real simple coloring on that. And I will do the rest off camera, I think. Let's clean my brush this time to make sure I'm not contaminating my colors. Nope, I guess I'm going to be doing it on camera. Okay, then we will. That was Tropical Tango there. And again, I'm just going in with the highly watered down version of it. And then I'll fill in with darker. Get my shadows, get my dimension going there. I still want it to have a watercolor look. And I got it, filled it in too much, so now I need to come back in on those sides and darken them down. And you do want to work with layers as much as you can when you're doing this. You should sort of let it dry between layers, but I didn't, so whatever. All right, happy with that. Now just the last one. And I'll color the, I don't know if I'm going to color the rug off camera or not. I don't remember. This one I kind of dragged my feet on doing the voiceover because I was doing some other videos too. And so I have to go from memory here. What I have here is Weeping Willow. And I just want to make a brown pot. Nothing big. Still trying to add a little bit of dimension to the pot. The little diamonds can get distracting there when you're trying to do this. And I end up filling in those diamonds with black. Don't be afraid to use black as an accent color. Lots of things have black in them. See, I want this pot to be a bit darker. All right, happy with that. All right, we're going to do the rug. So I started with the rug. I started with the Breakup Blue, and I did several coats, and I let the paper pill up. I wanted it to. I started out to do it just brown. I wanted the paper to pill up a bit so that it looked more like a rug. And then I'm going to do the same thing, and it's going to pill up even more now, as I'm going to go with my brush, go in with the cookie dough, so that the rug colors kind of match my wall colors. And I'll be fussy cutting this, so I'm not worried about going on the outside of the edges. Just testing it up against my background. I need a little bit more cookie dough in there. And notice how the cookie dough just mutes down that Breakup Blue. Gives it a nice kind of blue jean color. And then I'm just going to do the coffee table and Weeping Willow. I'm not going to make any extra effort to make shadows and stuff on it because it's really going to be mostly covered. with the plants. Okay, I'm good with that. And then I'm going to go off camera and cut these things out. I did want to show you how I cut the middles out of stuff. So this is my my coffee table, and I need to get those squares out. So I just used my finger knife and a little cutting pad that I got. I think I got it at the dollar store. You know what, though? Every time somebody says, I got that at the dollar store, I go to my dollar store, and it's never there. So I found some at a dollar store in my town, and I bought 2 or 3 of them, but I've lost all but this one. Oh, they're around this house somewhere. So I just follow the lines there and get those middles cut out. And I'll do the same on this little prickly cactus where it's got those little background areas. I'll just use my knife and slice them out. And I'm putting pretty good pressure on there, just to make sure that it cuts through, because this is 110-pound paper. So I've got those all cut out. Now I wanted to show you what you can do here as far as if you wanted to use the dies. I'm just trimming around this because I want to be able to fit it into my sidekick. I'm going to grab the die that goes with it. Let's see here. Where is it? Where are you? I think this is it. Yeah, that's the one. I'm just going to move all my stuff out of the way here so I can suction my sidekick down. I'll grab a couple of little plates and kind of position this on here. I think I'll throw a little piece of mint tape on there just to make sure it doesn't move on me, because I really don't want to color it again. You could color these after you cut them out, but I like to color them beforehand because, again, I tend to cut all the way to the edge. So I'm just going to run this through my sidekick. This is why sidekicks are handy. Put my sidekick away, flip back down my work mat here, and then I'll pull out the little cactus. And it's fine just like that, but if you cut that out like that first and then fussy cut, I don't know about you, but I fight with the excess paper that I'm trimming off. So this really saves me from all that. And I'm just going to show you on camera. And the reason is that honestly, when I first started out card making, I saw other people fussy cutting, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I just couldn't get it right. So I had to watch a lot of videos and practice a lot. So I'll tell you, practice, practice, practice. Now, some people practice with their scan and cut, and lucky them. But I honestly don't think I would use mine even if I had one, because it's just faster to go this way, and I don't necessarily mass produce. So I wanted to show you there that I'm holding my paper almost like a V, like a wide V, or like wings. So my paper's kind of tilted down to the left. My scissors are kind of tilted down to the right. And I do that so I can see where I'm cutting. Because if I was to be straight on, my scissors would be covering where I'm cutting. And these are my favorite scissors right here, these Tim Holtz scissors. I don't care if they have a serrated edge. It doesn't bother me a bit, because they will cut right all the way down into exact tip, because the tip is really thin. I have lots of scissors that I bought for fussy cutting, but I always go back to these tried and true. I just never ever have a problem with them. I feel like they're nice and sturdy, and the handles are soft. Anyway, I'm not here to sell scissors, but I'm just telling you what I like. And the other thing with fussy cutting is you have to take your time. It's not something you rush through. And generally, I'll do these off camera. I just just thought I'd share this with you guys today. So we're almost done, and notice I'm moving my paper instead of my scissors. And if I get to an edge where I have a right angle like that, I'll just stop and come in from the other direction rather than trying to cut around that angle. There we go. There's our little pot all fussy cut. Now I like to take a black pen, and I have a Zig black marker. It's a watercolor marker with a paintbrushy like tip, and I like to go around all the outside edges where, because I might have trimmed off some of that black when I got so close. So I'll just go around all these edges to cover them up and to make sure that, you know, all my lines are cohesive throughout the piece of art. So I'll come in from the back side to get these little inner parts, and if I need to, I'll set it down and use the brush, the tip of the brush, to fill in some of those areas. And it really just gives it a nice finished look. You can make mistakes, you can have accidents, so just bear that in mind. It's okay, it's handmade cards. So I've got everything all lined out, and now I'm going to decide where I'm going to put everything. And partly I want to decide, you know, kind of my composition here. Something like that. It's not exact, but what I'm going to do is I need to make some more floor. I don't want my carpet just floating in midair. So I'm going to take a piece of mint tape, and I'm going to mask off a straight area there. And I'm going to darken this area down with the weeping willow. I'm going to make it very, very dark so you can almost not see through it. You still can, but not too bad. And you could fill it in with the pigment ink and it would cover that up, but I don't necessarily need to cover it up. I just need that delineation there so that it looks like I have a shiny floor, right? Because the rug's going to cover most of it. So I'll go ahead and glue down the rug first. And don't worry, I'm going to trim off the excess edges. See, now it kind of gives it that depth because of the shape of that rug. Then I'm going to glue down my coffee table. And the glue will dry clear, so I'm not too worried about it, but I do kind of dab it up. And you can see I've got a line there on there where I slipped with my pen. Like I said, it happens. So I'm going to glue down the viper colored plant first. Kind of not perfectly centered. I don't like anything perfect, but fairly centered. And then kind of decide how I want to put these other two plants. If I want this one buried behind that or vice versa. Yeah, I think I want to go vice versa. So I'm going to glue this one straight down as well. Make sure it's on the table. Can't have it hanging off because it'll fall on the floor and break. And then I'll glue this one down, and I think I will pop this one up on some foam tape. Just to add a little bit more dimension. Making sure none's showing through, and then I will trim some of this off so that it fits within the plant area there. Just cut a couple of extra little off. You could use, you know, multiple packs, but I tend to go through one and then go through another. Any excess, just trim it off. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and peel off the foam tape back, or fight with it, one of the two. Kind of foam tape is my nemesis. I love the way it looks, but I hate using it. It's always a fight. Decide on placement on my plant here, and I'm happy with it right there. And there we've got our plants. I'll go ahead and trim off these excess portions of the rug. And then I'll go ahead and match the edging there where the rug is. And I will darken down the actual sides of the card. I'm just going to rub my ink pad along it. I tell you, if you don't have these colors, the cookie dough and the weeping willow and the shady, get them, man, get those neutrals. They're awesome. I'm going to put this down onto a craft card base, and I'm just going to glue it flat down. I like flat cards. I like cards with dimension too, but they're difficult to mail. I noticed when I receive some, the envelope's all torn and a lot of the stuff is bent. I just think there's so much going through the mail anymore, they just can't keep up. All right, so now I want a sentiment, and I think I'm going to go with, this is always the hardest part. I think I'm going to go with just a note. Let me see here. Yeah, just a note. I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to stamp that onto a separate piece of paper. I'm looking for a scrap here. I don't want to use a whole piece of paper if I don't have to. There we go. I guess I have to. And I'm going to just hand stamp this, and I'm going to hand stamp it with the weeping willow. And I'm stamping it right smack in the middle. If I need to stamp more, I will. But then I want to trim that down. Could have maybe stamped it directly onto the card, but I really didn't want to. Now I'm going to grab some cookie dough here, and I'm just going to grab my little finger blender brush and just fill that in because I don't want it to be white. There we go. Get it nice and dark and then trim it up. Just grab my paper trimmer here. And I'm going to line up the letters with the end of the guide piece. That gives the perfect margin. And I'm going to go ahead and edge this as well so that it stands out a little bit more against the wall. And let's see, do I want to pop that up? Try and decide if I'm going to pop it up or leave it straight down. I think I'm just going to leave it straight down. Yeah. I'm just going to put it up here in this right-hand corner. And there we go. We've got our little antique-y looking note card with the Moroccan tile background and the succulents. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you again. Bye-bye.